We got to talk about the main event before we forget, because it was kind of forgettable. It was Kevin Owens and Reigns.
Oh yeah, Kevin.
There was a main event match.
Kevin Owens defeats Roman Reigns to retain the WWE Universal Championship.
You know, I liken this to the end of The Sopranos when they just cut off in mid sentence. Because this is essentially what you do when you let a main event match end in disqualification. You're basically just pissing on everybody's time.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you had a nice little segment beating up with your heels getting beat up at the end, but when you let a match, this match went 23 minutes and 20 seconds long. When you let a match go that long and it's a title match and you let it end in a disqualification, you just pissed on everybody who paid their money to see it.
Oh yeah,
and I don't care if it's
over and over during the Invasion storyline.
Yeah, you need a decisive winner for your main event, no matter what it is.
Why even do the match? Because if this was going to be the case, you should have just did a match between Kevin Owens and Jericho versus Reigns and Rollins.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. Okay. And I'm going to jump into the Shield real quick. They've teased these quote unquote Shield reunions so much with the power bombs.
Nothing.
It's going to be nothing when they actually decide to put them back together. Nobody's going to care.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to care. They even did it again on Raw. They said, well, we put SmackDown's going to be recording this same building tomorrow night. What if Reigns and Rollins got together? This was all the shit that Stephanie McMahon was saying.
God.
Stop doing that. It's going to mean absolutely nothing when you finally put these guys back together.
To be honest, they shouldn't. They shouldn't put them back together.
They should never put them back, guys.
Because Ambrose is running SmackDown right now just fine. He's not the champion right now, but that's his show. That's his and AJ's show right now, and they should not be putting them back together at all. To be honest, I was never sold on the Shield to begin with. They were cute at the start because we finally saw Rollins and Ambrose brought up. None of us knew who the hell Roman Reigns was at that time. But they keep shoving Roman Reigns down our throat, though. And keep that in mind as well, because we were doing the podcast originally back in college when the Shield showed up.
Yeah.
And we were all going, yes, Rollins is finally in the main roster. There's Dean Ambrose. All right, we can mark out who the hell's this big guy and why should we care?
It was WWE's guy.
Yeah. Vince. We're just not into this guy, okay? We're just not into him. To be honest, Reigns should have been always what he is right now. United States or Intercontinental Champion, running the mid-card, and being that guy that you potentially build to, but not
eventually.
Yet. Eventually, absolutely. And the fact that he's been shoved down our throats so many times, the fact that they had to mute the crowd at your main event of WrestleMania because of how badly they were booing Roman Reigns anytime he mounted an offense against Triple H. Kevin Owens is going to retain at the Royal Rumble. Yeah. Let's be honest.
Jericho's going to find a way to do some shenanigans out of the cage.
That fucking cage. Can we talk about how stupid this is right now? First of all, if I was Jericho, I would be scared shitless in that cage, dangling above the ring. Because if anything happens, not only is his life in danger, the superstars in the ring are in danger. So I hope to God that it's actually on a pole and not necessarily being held up by strings.
Well, they had
Paul Ellering
hanging up there in the same type of cage, but of course it was up there with chains and all that stuff.
Yeah, you need to make sure that thing's reinforced, WWE, or this could end very badly, very quickly.
I'm gonna bring up. Oh
no, go ahead, because
okay.
I'm just.
Well, I'm gonna bring up this one point because it's gonna tie in. It's a Raw highlight. Roman Reigns defeats Kevin Owens to retain the WWE United States Championship, even with interferences from Chris Jericho. With constant assists and losing matchups like these, is Kevin Owens' reign going to be looked at as a failure?
First of all, the match on Monday should never have happened. It was stupid, and
it was our main event already.
It's essentially going to be the exact same thing come Rumble time. The only difference is it's Kevin Owens' title on the line and not Roman Reigns. This should really be a champion versus champion match, but we already did that. I don't think it's going to be viewed as a failure simply because the Universal Championship so far is viewed as a failure. Keep in mind that Finn Balor was supposed to be a long-term Universal Champion, and that was shot the hell
Yeah.
within
Thanks, Seth
24
Rollins.
hours.
Thank you, Seth Rollins. This is your fault.
Okay, Brett. Yeah.
No, it was his fault.
No, I totally understand, but that's all Bret Hart seems to talk about in shoots anymore.
He apologized.
He doesn't like Seth Rollins.
He apologized. He said He said my podcast. It's not what this is about. It's just It's just
that
a
is
vehicle.
the worst Canadian accent I've ever heard anyone say.
But he's basically just saying that the podcast became a vehicle for him to just vent and say negative things.
No, he has a lot of pent-up anger, If I had to deal with half the bullshit that he had to go through his career, I'd be a bitter man as well. Yeah. Look, Kevin Owens is going to be champion through WrestleMania. Maybe during one of the Raw pay-per-views leading up to it, he'll lose the title, then win it back on an episode of Raw as something like a transitional kind of thing, just to liven up the storyline. But whether Jericho turns heel, he turns face while champion, or something else happens, Kevin Owens is going to be your main event for a triple threat or a fatal four-way match with Jericho, Roman, and probably Seth Rollins as well. For the Universal Championship. It's just going to be a case of, are we going to care at that point? Because they've really dragged this on a lot. I felt like Kevin Owens should have dropped the title at least once since he's been given it. And it's going to be roughly about 6 months he'll be champion come WrestleMania season. Are we really going to care anymore?
Well, he's been booked to look as a weak champion to me because he hasn't won not one title defense without help. And then I'm hoping this is the route they're going because it wouldn't seem like they would do this because it was a rumor I read earlier this week saying that they want to do a Universal Championship match at WrestleMania between Strowman and Roman Reigns, with Roman as champion. However,
dear God, please no.
I'm hoping that's not the case, but this is what it seems like it would be. I don't think Roman would be Universal Champion because clearly we don't think he's going to win next month.
Yeah.
The Royal Rumble. It seemed like this would be for the United States title.
Yeah.
Because they even did a poll on WWE.com. Roman ranked. He got like a 5% of the vote when they said who would you like to see in a WrestleMania main event. And they wound up taking the poll down.
Yep.
So, but I would say leave him as because they already teased that's what's going to happen in the future anyway. Let something happen where actually Strowman is the one because Jericho's chained up in the cage, and the ref probably somehow be looking up, distracted by Jericho. Have Strowman be the one to come down to the ring, cost Roman Reigns that match against Owens because he's been getting help anyway, and let that start their program for the U.S. title going into WrestleMania. Give Kevin Owens something else to do. I still haven't thought in my head who he could possibly be facing at WrestleMania besides Chris Jericho or Seth Rollins is going to be in a match with Triple H.
Yeah.
God damn it!
Because he finally remembered that he was mad at Triple H after 6 months. So
son of a. Oh my God!
Yeah, so that's
this
the match
WrestleMania is going to be shit. Let's get that out of the way.
Bro, it can't be any worse than this year, and it definitely can't be any worse than the one we got about 3 years ago. Which was the match where we got Rock Cena 2?
That would have been 29.
Yeah, it can't be any worse than that. And oh my gosh, hang on, the one where we got Miz and Cena at WrestleMania.
Oh Lord,
that was awful. So if it passes that bar, I think we will be okay.
Yeah, for me, Kevin Owens' reign, it's been very underwhelming thus far. I feel like anytime him and Jericho are on screen together, he's always playing second fiddle just because I feel like Jericho eats up the screen with his whole list and the scarf and everything. People latch on to his character. I honestly feel like...
Chris Jericho could get a beat-up shoe over.
And I feel like we're looking at Kevin Owens as champion, riding the coattails of Chris Jericho rather than the other way around. I feel like he's just being lost in the shuffle, especially when you match him up with Jericho.
I'm glad he's getting the rub off from Jericho because that's definitely helped his character.
Yeah.
Because you look at Kevin Owens when he first debuted on the main roster, it was just I ran roughshod in NXT. I beat John Cena clean, rough and tumble, grumble kind of guy. Rubbing off on Jericho's definitely helped him.
He still run Owens' run.
Yeah, it's essentially, it's helped his character and it's helped his acting ability because he's getting the rub off from the right guy, but it's just gone on too long. I felt that the split should have happened
I thought it was happening like around Survivor Series or something.
Exactly, yeah.
Because I thought we would at least see Owens, Jericho at the Rumble just to have a fill or something until WrestleMania. So for me, he's never like someone that I'm eager to watch Raw anymore. I loved Owens when he first came in, but right now I've just grown cold on him. There's really nothing there. I can't really think of too many great matches that he's been in since being Universal Champion. It's just been very underwhelming, I guess, as I describe his whole reign so far. I mean, hopefully something turns, but I don't even know his matchup for WrestleMania as well. I don't know what interesting matchup we can come up with.
I think the thing with Jericho coming in all this is, at least storyline-wise, what is his motivation to helping Kevin Owens other than being best friends with the guy?
Yeah.
He's not, trying to weasel in to get a secret Universal title shot or be thrown into that picture, but it's just a case of, unless they come out that he's being paid under the table, then it doesn't come out well for either of them right now, because you're making Owens look weak and cowardly, which can work for a heel champion, but you're pushing your boundaries at this point, and it's not helping Jericho because aside from getting over because of stupid idiot, a scarf, and a list, it's just not working. Fans going to cheer for Jericho just because he's Chris Jericho. He could, come out in a Nazi SS uniform and fans would still cheer for him.
No, you're pushing it. You're fucking pushing it.
But still, it just, I just don't see where they're going with this right now. Obviously, Owens is probably going to be champion going into WrestleMania. And I mentioned it on a couple podcasts a few weeks ago, Owens versus Jericho is not going to be the match that puts butts in the seats. That's going to be your opening of the show title match, aside from whatever ladder match they're going to have that year. That's going to be essentially your world title match, one that, no one really cares about and goes forth. And plus, we haven't even talked about, the potential that the Royal Rumble is going to have. Who's going to win that and what title is he or she going to go for.
Yep.
And I say she because they're going to throw at least one woman into this because, look, this is what you wanted. Go ahead, cheer for us. Our job's done. Yeah, it's just a mess right now, and I hope that things get sorted out and the writing really picks up, but
time will tell.
But the bar is essentially on the floor of Satan's wine cellar at this point, so it's very, very low, and hopefully things pick up from here.
All right. Did we use up all of our everything we're gonna say about Raw? Because it definitely got tied into a lot of.
Almost. There's only one topic left untouched because I said we come back to it.
Okay.
The other thing. So the only Raw highlight that we have left is Cesaro and Sheamus defeat the New Day to retain the WWE Tag Team Championships. With the loss of the championships, could an eventual breakup be on the horizon for the New Day?
What happened with them after the match with the New Day?
I don't think anything. They showed them. They just showed them. There hasn't been any actual fallout yet.
I don't know. Maybe something leading up until WrestleMania. Possibly, maybe a triple threat. If we do get a triple threat match, that'll probably be it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because other than after losing tag team championships, I don't see anything for the
left. With three guys that want to keep over as good guys, baby faces. Mm-hmm. Normally, what they do is, or with guys that want to keep as heels. Normally, if they're in a group, they normally just make them go their own way.
Yeah.
Quietly.
Which honestly, again, we talked about them being more singles competitors. I feel like they could still be the New Day. They don't have to tag anymore. I mean, they can do tag team things. Sometimes go for the belts eventually or something like that. But I feel like they can be a unit, but just be separate wrestlers.
Or they'll keep them together and drag this out until the next draft and split them up that way. And then one will be on one show because one of them's going to end up on another show. That's just how it's going to be.
Yeah.
As a result of that, they'll just have the other two move on and go on their own separate way quietly as well.
Yeah.
Like, say Big E gets drafted to SmackDown. We got Kofi and Xavier on Raw. And you'll see them tagging here and there, but then let's say Xavier starts getting more and more involved in the cruiserweight division, so he's doing that, and he still has the New Day music and all that stuff. Big E's over here, his music's already changed, his gimmick's already gone back to something where he can excel at, and then Kofi slowly
I don't need 3, I need 5.
And then Kofi slowly transitions back to how he was.
Jamaican accent. No.
Please, no. We can stop it at the. Shawn Michaels said that this is a segment he stopped doing that Jamaican accent. He's like, "Aren't you supposed to be Jamaican? Where'd your accent go?" This is where they were putting together a Survivor Series team. What was that? And then he tried to explain. Yep. I just did that as a tribute to Jamaican culture, dude. You're from Ghana, West Africa. That's they say your character's from. But you clearly grew up in Boston. Which one is it? Quit making stuff up, WWE.
Right. They're not going to split up. They're going to go the singles way. Maybe Xavier or Kofi goes after the U.S. title. Have some kind of program with Roman Reigns. But I'm with D on this one. They're not going to split up until draft time, and either two of them stay as a tag team, at least temporarily, and then go their separate ways, or
if any of them went heel, it'd definitely be Xavier Woods, because he's the most untested as an individual star. Because
he's the one I have most high hopes for. I feel singles wise, especially with the formation of the cruiserweight division. I feel like we're gonna have a couple people that are gonna carry it. I feel like Austin Aries is gonna be one of them, and I feel like Xavier Woods would be another.
Yeah, but when I say he's the most untested, it's because every time they've tried to do anything with him, it's been with somebody else. When he first got his opportunity, they put him with R-Truth.
Yeah,
and they sent him back down to NXT. Came back up. He tagged with R-Truth a few more times, so they began feuding with Brodus Clay over the "Somebody Call My Mama" song.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, nobody. I'm surprised you guys remember that, because nobody else remembers that. And then they brought him back up and they put him with the New Day. He's never been able to do anything on his own yet.
Yeah, he's always had someone helping.
As a result, I believe he'll be the one that turns heel out of the rest of them. I think they'll try their hand again with Big E as a face, considering that he's shown his mettle for being a entertaining, charismatic big guy.
Yeah.
Because hopefully he doesn't wind up in that comedy category.
Yes, I hope.
They'll give him somebody called My Mama.
Oh,
and he'll start dancing. It all really depends on one thing, How well is Budio selling?
Yeah.
So
I think we're going to at least get probably like 6 more months. I mean, we could see anything. I guess we haven't really seen the fallout of it. I don't see them breaking up just because of the loss.
They're definitely going to fade into the background. We're going to forget that they're there every once in a while. But like I mentioned during the awards category, they are the most over superstars on Raw right now. And it would be shocking if they didn't at least have one more tag team title run before the draft and before an official split up happens. But it's going to happen. It's definitely going to happen within the next year or so, whether they turn heel or someone in the group turns heel and attacks the other ones, or the draft does it for them. But it's definitely going to happen within the next 6 to 9 months. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see something if Xavier Woods go for the Cruiserweight Championship, just to keep him on screen, and something different. If he's like 215, he's got to make weight, and they're doing programs of trying to get
work for Matt Hardy. Hey,
yep. Just to have him do his 205 thing, and then I mean that could be a setup. That'd be a great babyface if we're doing heel Neville. 2 notable guys from the roster already. But we'll move on to some SmackDown highlights. John Cena returns to SmackDown and announces he will be challenging whoever holds the WWE
He's barely on the show anymore. Come on.
At the end of the night, with audiences still feeling oversaturated with Cena over the past decade, do we need him back in the main event already?
No.
I would say no, but if you want WrestleMania to sell, then probably yeah, because kids love John Cena, and they're going to either beg their parents to take them to WrestleMania, get the network, or order the pay-per-view if they don't have the network just because John Cena's on it. Casey's about to explode.
No, I'm not going to explode because we've seen Cena versus AJ. That program worked perfectly. It ended perfectly. It benefited both guys. Why are you doing this again? It just doesn't make any sense to me why they would.
This kind of reminds me
to the main thing.
This reminds me of when Cena was whining up and down the roster a lot when Punk was champion. He kept getting rematches. Except in this case, AJ was not champion when they began their feud, but he is now. But still, he's getting another shot, and he basically came out and did that on SmackDown, just wind up and down, talk about I'm saying I'm facing the champion, whoever it is, at WrestleMania. You said I can't do that. Oh, I just did. That's how he was acting before. It's like, dude.
See, the way Cena cut that promo on SmackDown seemed
little heelish, but we know they're not going that route, so why do you keep doing it?
And WWE constantly does this. We've seen it right now with Roman Reigns. Now we're seeing it with John Cena, where they think when you oversaturate someone for a year's period, when we keep you out of the spotlight for 3 months, that, okay, now we're ready to throw them back into the main event light, which that's not how it works.
And also, when it comes to a potential Cena heel turn, people want something a little too much. So if you finally turn John Cena heel,
they're going to start cheering.
They're going to start cheering for him louder than he's ever been cheered throughout his entire career. It's going to be Rock syndrome, because when Rocky Maivia finally turned heel and became The Rock, he became the most popular guy on that roster. It's literally, what Adam Blampier said under the What Culture video. The only way you could have turned John Cena heel correctly was if he was the one to beat The Undertaker's WrestleMania streak, and if he did it by cheating. That is the only way it could have been done right, and the only way that it would have benefited both John Cena and the company as a whole. You're not going to get that magic again. It's been too long. It's been over a decade since, Word Life, Basic Thugonomics, Beat You With My Lock Chain, Netflix, whatever. John Cena, even if you turn him heel, what benefit of it is for the fans? We've seen enough of the guy, and I'm not saying that he needs to retire or anything like that, but
scale it back a little bit.
Scale it back. Work the mid card. Go back to a mid card title, like
if anything, he should be the one to take the Miz's Intercontinental Championship.
Exactly. Do that. That way, because that legitimized the U.S. title when he had it. Was defending it every
Let's do that again. Even though, oh my gosh, I can't believe I said that, because that would mean we would have to have another match. It wouldn't main event the show, but it'd probably be in a pretty good spot too. But that would mean we have to have Miz and Cena at WrestleMania again. I don't want that. I don't want that.
Well, I mean, as long as it's not the main event, I could deal with it. Plus, I know you hate The Miz. I feel like, at least because I hated The Miz when we used to do this podcast years ago, I'm not a big fan of him now, but I have definitely seen a progression where he's definitely a capable heel. I don't think he was a capable heel when he faced John Cena at WrestleMania years ago. I think he could be now. And plus, I don't want Miz in the main event scene, but I think he's more than capable of being that Intercontinental mid-card upper-tier heel. So I could see that at WrestleMania. Plus, they can kind of harp on that it's technically another WrestleMania rematch.
Even though it's Rick Martel. The Miz is modern day Rick Martel.
I love The Miz. You guys know that. I think the whole Hollywood A-lister thing's gone a little too far. He needs to change his gimmick, either back to the I'm awesome gimmick that he had previously before he came back and started doing the whole Hollywood shtick, or something completely
I mean, when you're pumping there at ABC Family Films left and right.
Oh my God. When you dress up as a giant chicken and fight Colonel Sanders, that's when you've drawn a line. You're not exactly an A-lister anymore, but yeah, I'd actually be interested in seeing that again if it was for a mid-card title. And John Cena being IC champion, a title that he's never held before, definitely could help not only SmackDown, but John Cena himself and his quote-unquote Hall of Fame career. And it's hard to believe that John Cena was gone all that time, because they kept referencing him constantly. He's on SNL. He's at Tribute to the Troops. He's filming another movie. You love this guy, don't you? Don't stop buying the T-shirts.
I haven't bought
Does he have a new T-shirt?
Is it new?
No, it's the same one he had before he left. But I haven't bought any John Cena merchandise, and I don't know how long, man. His last good shirt was that Black Hustle, Loyalty, and Respect one. Everything else looked like it looks stupid.
Fruity Pebbles.
It looks worse than that.
Fruity Pebbles.
Look like somebody threw up. Especially that last one. Looked like somebody threw up green crap on the orange shirt.
Cena does need an evolution, though, because he's had the same character for so damn long. Yeah. And I'm not saying he needs to go back to basic thugonomics. I'm not saying you need to turn him heel right away. But he does need something else. He does need some kind of evolution, whether it's a new fighting style or whatever. But he's coming up on the age of 40 within the next few years. He definitely needs some kind of evolution. If Chris Jericho can change his gimmick seemingly every time he disappears and comes back to the point where he gets the point where he gets useless tat over, including a clipboard and a scarf.
Yeah.
Then John Cena definitely could do the same, because obviously, he's an actor. He's been in a couple movies. He's headlined a couple movies. He's a decent actor. He co-hosted and hosted SNL a couple weeks ago. He definitely needs a character development, and I don't know how you would go about doing that, someone so established for so long. But if John Cena wants to be relevant, if he doesn't want the entire arena to chant John Cena sucks in the tune of his theme song every time he comes out, he definitely needs something.
All right, we'll come back to that in a little bit, because we got to talk about the main event, SmackDown, which obviously rolls into John Cena. Move on to American Alpha defeats the Usos, Heath Slater and Rhino, and the Wyatt family to become the new WWE SmackDown champions.
I should not see that coming, bro.
With the momentum the Wyatt family had, was this the right decision?
I think we saw it coming. We just didn't realize it was going to be this damn soon.
We were just talking about, this is going to happen at WrestleMania. Oh, I guess not. Okay.
Yeah, I think WWE is thinking long term, but is trying to cram it in the short term, to be honest with you. I'm glad American Alpha's champions, because for a while there, it looked like they were going to get lost in the shuffle of the tag team division, and I was almost certain that the WrestleMania idea wasn't going to happen. Glad they won. Glad they actually pinned Randy Orton to get the win. I don't think they're going to hold the titles for too long. I think it'll be not necessarily a hot potato situation, but they'll trade back and forth with the Wyatts leading up to WrestleMania, and whoever comes out of that match will be the long-term SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Obviously not a New Day reign, but definitely a lengthy one. But I do think it's a decent decision, not necessarily the right one, simply because American Alpha isn't green, but it's definitely still fresh in the minds of a lot of people who only know them from the draft when they were first called up. Yeah. Not necessarily the NXT watchers like we are.
Well, they haven't been overexposed either. So.
Right. Yeah, and that's one of the benefits and the sins of SmackDown being a 2-hour show, is because you can't tell the same amount of stories that Raw can, but then again, Raw is so oversaturated with everything that you have to take a 20-minute nap at somewhere in between. But I like the decision right now. I'm definitely glad that they got a decent pop out of it. Although, did you notice that every time they tried to zoom onto the fans after they won, it was people going, "What? Why?"
Yeah.
and doing the thumbs down thing. Didn't quite understand that, because American Alpha, in my opinion, is the most capable tag team right now. I mean, the Usos, they're brothers. I mean, obviously, there's some chemistry there. Beauty and the Man Beast, please go away. The Wyatt family with Randy Orton intermixed in there, it just seems really odd to me still. I kind of like a little bit of an evolution of Bray's character as well, trying to break up Randy and
Luke Harper
while they were squabbling during the or after the match. So I definitely saw that maybe a slight face turn in the future, but not now. Trying to keep the family together, realizing it's better to get rid of him and go his own way. But as of right now, I'm 60-40 in favor of American Alpha being tag team champions right now. Not thrilled about it. Felt it should have been a little bit farther down the line, but definitely glad that they are getting exposed the way they are.
I think they're going to do something with how Bray Wyatt and Orton are going to be like. Well, Orton's probably going to come up with something. This is my, I don't know, how I feel like the storyline would go in my head. they'll probably have some crap going on where Randy will be like, well, Bray, when it was me and you winning and defending the championships, we did fine, but when you put Luke Harper in there, we lost him because he got in my way and cost us the match. And that'll be probably, I don't know, Randy planting the seed to split up the Wyatt family or whatever. But I do think they'll win the belts back. And then that whole storyline with them splitting will come to a head. Either at WrestleMania or maybe before. Either way, it'll lead up to another match with Bray and Randy Orton.
Yeah.
But at the end of it all, we will have American Alpha as the champs. Now, if they don't go that way, we're just going to be having them get the rematch at the Rumble possibly. And American Alpha could possibly win that too. And then we'll set up our match with Orton and Wyatt. And we'll see where that goes.
Yeah. I could see, especially with they were talking about the Wyatts, I could see them turning on Luke Harper, with then eventually Orton turning on Bray, saying, because the inception of this feud relied on who was the most sadistic and who can play the most mind games. So Randy Orton's logic could be, I went into your family and I broke it up from the inside. That's how crazy I am. Yeah. So I could see a research.
His eyes glow red.
Yeah, I can see a resurgence of that feud. Regarding American Alpha, I think it's a poor decision at the moment. I'm a fan of them, but
it came out of nowhere though.
I think a lot of their momentum has been from NXT, and what got them over in NXT the most was when they were heels and they were brought onto the main roster as faces. So I don't have that much faith in their promos as faces because they're basically white meat baby faces, and the crowd does not eat that up in 2016. What to be is 2017. So I feel like there can be an oversaturation because we're not going to see a progression in American Alpha, because when they progressed, they were heels. We haven't seen it. Anything they've done that were good promos were heel promos, and then they've relied on that with their wrestling technique. So they're capable as mechanics in the ring. I don't know if they have the ability to cut, at least Chad Gable-wise, is a great heel. I don't know how that can carry over into being a babyface. So, and being a champion, you can't really hide from the spotlight. So, I think it was a poor decision on that end. I think they should have progressed a while, and maybe for WrestleMania is when they should have gotten their actual championships. So, as of right now, I feel like it was like, we're having all these titles on the line. We kind of need one to change hands. Let's put it on American Alpha right now. So, I'm not a big fan of it at the moment.
Yeah, they're going to be a transitional champion. Don't think, as of right now, with the way they're setting everything up, that they will have the tag team titles come WrestleMania time, but they'll definitely get another shot with the titles, heel or face, come summertime. So,
all right, we'll move on to Alexa Bliss defeats Becky Lynch to retain the WWE Smackdown Women's Championship. With a rematch potentially scheduled for the Royal Rumble, does this feud make it to WrestleMania?
No, it'll be. This will be done by the WrestleMania before WrestleMania. I think.
I don't know, because the women's division on SmackDown is stretched so thin that you can practically see through it. It would not shock me if even if they took a break from it right before WrestleMania, that they went back to it for a one-on-one match at WrestleMania. It's hard to tell at this point. I like Becky Lynch and the Alexa Bliss feud for what it is. I'm not overly hyped about it because I still think Alexa Bliss's bitch character is still unbelievably forced. You can tell she's acting. Becky Lynch, she's getting there. Aside from what's going on with Natalya, Nikki Bella, and Carmella right now, and however that's going to go.
Well, Carmella's apparently out of that situation because she's in
James Ellsworth's
she's in
girl
storyline with James Ellsworth.
Whatever.
I don't know.
Yeah, I bet Big Cass loves that idea.
He's probably laughing his ass off.
Yeah, I just right now I see it's going to have to go all the way to WrestleMania. I mean, obviously you don't want to overexpose them, but it's kind of hard to, because one, it's the championship feud, and two, you have a grand total of 5, maybe 6 women wrestlers on the SmackDown roster right now.
Some of them hurt, like I know Naomi's hurt.
Yeah, you're gonna have to either work out something where Raw women move over to SmackDown in some kind of convoluted trade or whatever.
They'll start calling women up, actually.
Start calling women up, and I don't see how they're going to do that unless you have a reason like
or
the draft.
Find out whoever was in that La Lucha lady costume.
Oh, yeah.
So that'll be another addition to the roster. I want to say it was Deanna Purrazzo because she was on the show a couple weeks ago, but
to be honest, I turned it off when that happened because I thought it was going to be a whole, is it Becky Lynch in the costume or whatever it was? So, yeah.
How was she in the costume when she was in the ring?
I didn't watch the match.
Oh.
So that's why. Alexa Bliss was wrestling some person in a bodysuit. I thought, it must be Becky Lynch trying to get her title back because she obviously won't do a rematch. So
you didn't see this match at all then.
Yeah,
this week it was Becky and Alexa, and then that same costume appeared again, but on a different person. That's what it was.
It's Los Luchadors again, isn't it? God damn it. The Attitude Era is dead. Let it stay that way. Look.
Everything's been done, though, Casey. What can you do now? Everything's been done.
Look, if they can make a Lego Batman movie, they can find a way to make wrestling storylines capable again.
That's different. That's Batman. And where's Harvey Dent?
Look, I don't want this storyline to stretch all the way to WrestleMania. 3 months is a long-ass time, but with the way the women is stretched on SmackDown, it's going to have to.
We're going to need an intermediate feud or something. Either that, or they're going to finish this feud off, and it'll be Nikki and Alexa.
Yeah, I see.
Oh God, no.
I'll see Nikki and Alexa at WrestleMania because they see Nikki as like their main event women's wrestler right now.
I wonder why.
Yeah,
Do.
I feel like WWE's logic is okay. We're gonna pull out the big guns for WrestleMania and throw Nikki into the.
And Nikki's got some big guns.
By the way, since you brought that up, I work at GameStop, and we have countless pop figures, including Nikki and Brie. Nikki's boobs are bigger on her pop than they are on Brie's.
Had to make them correct.
I hate wrestling sometimes. Yeah, I don't want that to be the match at WrestleMania, though. Yeah. It's probably gonna be because I really do think that they're gonna be betting on Becky Lynch to be that flag bearer for SmackDown long term as the year goes on. And I really hope that really showcases at WrestleMania, even if it is another triple threat match, which I hope they don't pull a WrestleMania 2000 when they only have a handful of singles matches.
They didn't have many singles matches at WrestleMania 2000.
They had one, and that was a cat fight. That was it. That
doesn't count because it still wasn't traditional because I think Al Snow was the referee.
I know. That was a terrible show. But yeah, I want Becky Lynch to be champion come WrestleMania. It's probably not going to happen. They are going to go with Nikki, and god damn it, why?
All right, well, we can move on to AJ Styles defeats Dolph Ziggler and Baron Corbin to retain the WWE Championship, setting up a match with John Cena at the Royal Rumble. Do we see Styles being dethroned and Cena reclaiming the title, the face that runs the place?
Well, hold on, Casey.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because you remember what I said about the Cruiserweight Triple Threat earlier.
Yep.
I knew AJ wasn't going to be losing this championship. Once again, this match served as nothing but a vehicle. That's because it wasn't that long. It was probably the last 20 minutes of SmackDown, if that. It served as nothing but a vehicle for John Cena to come back and make an appearance again and come face to face with AJ Styles.
Yeah, I wonder if that's like written in his contract. Like anytime a storyline ends with a major championship, he's just allowed to walk in and go, "I'm going to be your next opponent because hustle, loyalty, respect, do, whatever." I want AJ to win at the Royal Rumble. I honestly don't think it's going to happen. They're going to put it on Cena. He's going to run with it to WrestleMania, probably lose it at WrestleMania. It all depends on where the Universal title picture is, because one of those matches are going to have to be the one to end the show, and you want the better match to end the show. I'm just going to make a prediction right now. Cena's going to break Ric Flair's record for most world title wins this year in 2017, and that's going to break my heart as a wrestling fan because, one, Ric Flair has always been one of my favorites, even back from the WCW days when he was in his late 40s fighting the NWO. Just had that kind of charismatic, love him or hate him, he's an asshole, but you can't help but respect him for what he's done kind of guy. And John Cena's just been, that company guy that, will listen to anything Vince McMahon says and's been rewarded for it. And not to say that he doesn't have, the talent to be the quote-unquote face that runs the place, but it's definitely been forced on our throats for so long that, we don't want to see the guy anymore. Give it some time. But
that's one thing Stone Cold understood.
Yeah, he took breaks. We view Stone Cold as the typical WWE guy. We'll listen to Vince McMahon, do whatever Vince McMahon says, even if he doesn't agree with it. Hence the whole King of the Ring Brock Lesnar debacle that led to the suspension and departure for him that time. But he will do what he feels is right for the wrestling business. And him being a constant champion, losing the title just to re-win the championship again, he understood that you can't build a character that way. John Cena, they just keep throwing the belt on him, and he's saying, okay, and going with it because Make-A-Wish, and the kids, and the t-shirts, and this is what Vince wants, and Vince gets what he gets. So
Cena's run has been longer than anybody else who's supposed to be the top guy.
Yeah.
It's
been insane.
Longer than Hogan's, and definitely even longer than Rock and Austin.
I think WWE right now, at least under Vince, has been fearing change forever.
Yeah.
And that's why Cena's been there longest.
I've been saying to me and my buddy Joe, we just talked about this on Christmas when I stopped by his place. And we were talking about some wrestling stuff. And we were every time we talk about wrestling, he always says Vince McMahon is so behind the time.
Yeah.
He's so behind the time.
He's revolutionized in certain ways with the WWE Network and trying to, accommodate more global fans. He's letting wrestlers from other promotions keep their names like AJ, Bobby Roode, Samoa Joe, Shinsuke. When anytime, Tyler Black, who's that? He died in a boating accident years before. Here's Seth Rollins. You like him. You never heard of the other guy before. But yeah, it's just a case of Vince's right hand not knowing what the left hand is doing a lot of the time, and he just, he looks at John Cena, he has flashbacks to the 80s and Hulk Hogan and WrestleMania 3 and all that.
That's what he knows.
And yeah, he knows that. He built that guy from the ground up, and damn it if it's not going to be the hill he dies on.
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't happen, mainly because I think John Cena respects Ric Flair enough that even if he ties the record, he's not going to surpass it. But I think WWE, and given, not necessarily a rocky relationship that he's had with Flair, but something of the sort that even Ric Flair's going to be like, yeah, go ahead, pass the torch over, and I don't want to see that.
I'm just hoping AJ actually wins this match, even though I don't really expect him to I don't really expect WWE to allow this to be the fourth time Cena gets pinned by Styles.
Yeah.
But I really wanted to see that title match between Undertaker and AJ Styles. I really wanted to see that at WrestleMania. If not, I wanted to see it at the Rumble and then have AJ drop it and go from there. But then I think, especially as Undertaker says, I'm back and I'm not leaving. You haven't been back since the episode of Smackdown before the Survivor Series.
Look, you want to know what I think's going to happen, and it absolutely kills me, but this is WWE's mentality, and it's the most likely to happen.
Please don't say triple threat.
No. Cena beats AJ at the Royal Rumble, wins the title. Somewhere in between, Cena loses the championship back to AJ. Whether it's a triple threat or anything kind of thing, ladder match, whatever. Somehow, AJ wins, but Cena doesn't get pinned, necessarily. Cena wins it again in a singles one-on-one match at WrestleMania, and that's how he breaks the record. That will be his record-breaking, was it 16th, 17th? Title run. He wins it at WrestleMania. All the pyro and stuff goes off. That's how he breaks the record. He wins it and breaks it at WrestleMania. Superstars come down, congratulate him on the ramp, all that. They have a big celebration on Raw or SmackDown, whatever, and then figure out where to go next. I don't want to see that, but knowing how WWE has been over the last several years, I think that's how it's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm really hoping AJ keeps it, but the dilemma is there are no fresh faces really for AJ to take on after the Rumble if he's not going to wrestle John Cena. And then with the Undertaker issue, if he was going to defend against Undertaker, that would mean either Undertaker's going to become champion, which is highly unlikely, or AJ hands Undertaker second loss at WrestleMania, which is also highly unlikely. I could see Cena winning, just off the top of my head. We could see Cena win. Highly unlikely that he would face The Undertaker at WrestleMania for the championship.
Unless he loses.
And
Taker retires.
Yeah, I'm saying potentially walks in as champion against Undertaker and hands Undertaker his second loss at WrestleMania, which sparks his heel turn. Because, as Casey said, if they wanted to turn him heel, he should have done it to end Taker's streak. But I think people would be equally pissed to see Undertaker be handed a second loss at WrestleMania by the hands of John Cena.
Against John Cena, maybe, but, that fire's gone, If they were going to have him lose a second match, it probably would have been against Shane in Hell in a Cell. Not that that would have made any goddamn sense.
Well,
but
I feel like this is why people would be pissed, is no one would expect it. They would be like, yeah, well, because he should have done this, he should have done that. There's no way Cena's going to beat him at WrestleMania, and then Cena does beat him at WrestleMania. And everyone's caught off guard, just like the way everyone's caught off guard when he lost against Lesnar. I don't think anyone would see it coming a second time. They'd be like, there's no way Undertaker's going to lose again at WrestleMania. And then he does, to John Cena. I feel like that could piss people off.
That'll piss people enough for him to jump the barricade and stab John Cena in the kidneys by a guy named Jesus.
Oh, my gosh. A lot of people won't even get that reference.
God, that was over a decade ago.
Mm-hmm.
God, I'm getting old.
Oh, boy. We'll move on to the little bit of NXT news. Bobby Roode becomes #1 contender for Shinsuke Nakamura's NXT Championship. Is Roode in line to be the next superstar added to the lineage of NXT champions?
Yes, and this is what I think is going to happen. I think Bobby Roode is going to win at NXT TakeOver, and that Shinsuke Nakamura is going to be a surprise NXT entrant in the Royal Rumble match itself. That would cause a huge pop. Even if Shinsuke does retain the championship, I do think he's going to be in the Rumble match. I don't think he's going to last overly too long, maybe 5-6 minutes at most, but having a couple NXT guys in the Rumble match and
Ty Dillinger at 10.
Yeah. And having them, shoot up to the main roster soon after that. Shinsuke's kind of hit that glass ceiling that we keep talking about when it comes to NXT. There's not a whole lot that we could that they're able to do for him aside from being a long-term champion. And we were talking right before we went on this podcast, there has to be an NXT guy to stay and be that, flag bearer for the brand, and I think Bobby Roode is probably going to be most likely that guy because he's in his upper 30s right now. I don't see any main roster programs, at least as of right now, that he would be a good fit for. And I think having a veteran like him who's been a world champion in other places, who's been all over the world and done a bunch of other things in the business, can be that veteran presence to lead the younger guys who are just coming up from the Developmental Center to NXT could be good for him. So I think Bobby Roode will win. Wouldn't shock me if Shinsuke did retain, but it was a long-term feud that actually goes into the takeover for WrestleMania the night before. But it would not shock me either way if Shinsuke was the quote-unquote surprise for the Rumble match either way.
I'm thinking Shinsuke will give Bobby Roode his first loss on the first title defense, and then you know how everything goes. So they'll probably have another rematch at the TakeOver before WrestleMania, and then he'll drop it there to Bobby Roode, and then I believe Shinsuke Nakamura will be a surprise entrant in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which he will win, and they'll go that way.
Either way, it's throwing people over the top rope, so I can kind of see it.
He's going to be a surprise somewhere. Yeah, I could see Shinsuke being somewhere at WrestleMania. I don't think I'm not a fan of Nakamura being brought up to the main roster. I think he should be a mainstay in NXT, just because I know he's going to be treated as that upper tier talent as he should be. I think Bobby Roode will be next in line, and I don't think he's going to win next TakeOver, but I think he is going to eventually win.
Yeah, besides, Shinsuke Nakamura just won the belt back. That would be way too soon.
And I think this Bobby Roode, Shinsuke Nakamura feud is going to be one of these feuds that we're going to talk about for years. I think the series of matches these two are going to produce is going to be phenomenal. I think these two have found their counterparts in each other, like Samoa Joe, CM Punk in Ring of Honor. I think this is going to be one of those ones where we're going to see these guys take each other to the limit. I think their styles are going to match up so well, and I think honestly for the next 6 to 7 months we're going to see these two feuds at the top of NXT for the championship. So I think this is the most exciting feud that they could produce at the moment, and I think these series of matches, when we talk about 2017 best match contenders in a year, we're going to be talking Bobby Roode, Shinsuke Nakamura.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, NXT is just killing it right now in terms of the talent they're producing and the matches they're putting on. It definitely shows that, when a WWE product is not overseen by the ruling thumb of Vince McMahon, the evil empire of Vince McMahon, it can be done well. Whatever Triple H is doing, whatever he's tapped into, it definitely shows that if he's going to be the future of this empire, then we're in a much better place than a lot of us think we believe right now. Don't know what's going to happen when Vince finally kicks the bucket and him, Stephanie, Shane, whoever is running the show entirely, whether it's Kevin Dunn or whoever. But right now, what Triple H has tapped into with NXT over the past couple of years since FCW turned into NXT. Yeah, it's definitely proven to be hands down the best wrestling WWE has produced in years. And I think the main roster and the way it's written has lost that spark. And the writers in NXT and the trainers being so close to the developmental center has definitely found, that lightning in a bottle that the future WWE is going to need. Now they can just figure out how to transition these, up-and-comers to the main roster and treat them correctly, then we'd be in a much better place than we are now. But as of this moment in time, NXT is the place to be. And we were talking about it, during the awards last week. NXT TakeOver was hands down the best show WWE had produced all year. And I'm not saying you're supposed to put, too much stock into the NXT ones, but, that is your future of the company. And even if a lot of the guys don't pan out once they hit the main roster, a majority of them have to if you want this business to succeed. I think WWE honestly got scared in the mid to late thousands when TNA was getting, up-and-coming traction and was that, threat. And now you have ROH, you have Evolve, New Japan, even some overseas, promotions getting some internet love like WCPW. Some of the matches that they're doing right now is phenomenal. It's one of the reasons why they're tapping into the UK market with this United Kingdom Championship that they've debuted. So it really goes to show that, they have something ready and able right now to take the company over. It's just a matter of going back to what Dee said, if Vince is willing to evolve. And he's so, he's 70 plus years old and so set in his ways right now that this worked back in the late 80s, early 90s. Surely it has to work now when, times change, people evolve, and Vince hasn't done that, so.
All right, well, 2016 was definitely a crazy year. A lot of surprises.
That's
and I don't know. I guess we'll see what 2017 brings. One thing we know for sure, the band is back, so we'll be here weekly, throwing up the Wolfpack signs. We'll be here weekly, bringing you all the news and rumors, I guess. Expect us a lot more content starting next week. We're going to get the ball rolling.
Shameless plug. Be sure to check out the Dee Harris brand on Facebook and the Dee Harris brand on YouTube. I'm Dee Harris. I do a web show called On Screen with Dee Harris where I interview individuals and owners of businesses. But also, this is where you can find some of the content we put here
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of episodes of the Week in Wrestling podcast. Be sure to check out parts 1 and 2 of our award segment that was posted, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, and plus the first half hour, that was our, the
basic Week in Wrestling.
Yeah, our basic Week in Wrestling. So make sure you check that out. That's Dee Harris brand on YouTube and on Facebook. And also check out my Car Club's team page. It's called Team Prodigy 216. I do a lot of the videos and photography for that as well. So check that out if you like cars and beautiful women. So be sure to check that out. But yeah, definitely.
Anything else you want to plug? Any small businesses or anything like that? Or?
Yeah, Casey has a. I heard he was shooting porn. So
yeah, no one wants to see that.
That's gonna be on a different website though.
I'm joking, but yeah, definitely check those outlets out for the Week in Wrestling podcast. We really thank you guys for watching that.
So if you want to find porn, feel free to contact me. I have plenty.
Oh gosh, Casey, it was a joke. Stop.
I have nothing planned. I have nothing to plug right now, but I do have some things planned, video game related, in the very near future. So that will be part of the Pop Culture Addicts in the very near future. So
please tell me it's not another review of Sonic 06.
No, not yet. Anyway.
Oh my gosh.
We got. There's actually a worse Sonic game that's come out since, and things are going to get bad. But definitely have a lot of things planned, including a top 5 favorite games of 2016 list that I am currently in the process of getting footage for and editing together. So expect that sometime before the end of January. We'll let you know when the links and where to find it is, but that's a work in progress right now.
Yeah, and then with me, as always, popcultureaddicts.com. If you are listening to this on iTunes, if you haven't found it on the website, go on over there. Other podcasts that you can find on iTunes as well. Some movie reviews, trailer reviews. We'll be covering some events in the upcoming months, so make sure you check that out for some coverage on that. But with that, I'm Luke Janisko.
Casey Church.
Dynamite Dee Harris.
And for the last time in 2016, that was your week in wrestling.